Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay.
Motion passes.
Okay, so another announcement for disclosures, the last item, item 11, which is a Unified Land Development Code revision Phase 1. We do not need disclosures on that item. And with that said, turn it back over to the chair.
You need a roll call.
Oh, wait, I got to turn it over to the county attorney for swearing in.
Well,
Sorry.
should we start with a roll call, ma'am?
Why don't we start with swearing in of the new commissioners?
Swearing in of new commissioners, absolutely.
So I believe we have two new commissioners, two new faces today. For the new commissioners, if you would allow me to swear you in, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that you will faithfully perform the duties of the office as a member of the Palm Beach County Zoning Commission and will support and honor and comply with all applicable laws of the state of Florida and Palm Beach County, including the Unified Land Development Code and the Palm Beach County Code of Ethics?
I do.
I do.
Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Well, welcome aboard, gentlemen. Thank you for being a part of our commission. Lori, will you lead us in the opening prayer and pledge? Please rise.
Lord, we ask your guidance today as we consider matters that will affect the safety and welfare of our many people in our county. Help us to listen with open minds to matters that are important before us and to act on the matters that will benefit those who reside in our area. Keep our minds open and alert, our hearts compassionate, and our comments charitable. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Miss Wendy, I skipped over the roll call. Can we go ahead and conclude with that?
Yes, we can.
Good morning. Commissioner Craftley. Commissioner Kern.
Here.
Commissioner Kelly.
Here.
Commissioner Caliendo.
Here.
Commissioner Minicourt.
Here.
Commissioner Raycutter.
Here.
Commissioner Brumfield.
Here.
Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Thank you.
We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. The Zoning Commission of Palm Beach County has convened at 9 a.m. in the Vista Center, Ken Rogers Hearing Room, VC 1W47, 2300 North Jog Road, West Palm Beach, Florida, to consider proposed applications and staff recommendations pursuant to and other actions the Palm Beach County Unified Land Development Code. The Commission takes final action regarding Class B conditional uses, subdivision variances, and Type 2 variances, and issues advisory recommendations on other requests. The Board of County Commissioners of Palm Beach County will conduct a public hearing at 301 North Olive Avenue, West Palm Beach, Florida, in the Jane M. Thompson Memorial Chambers, 6th floor, at 9:30 a.m. on applications not subject to Zoning Commission's final actions. Zoning hearings are quasi-judicial in nature and must be conducted to afford all parties due process. The Board of County Commissioners has adopted procedures for conduct of quasi-judicial hearings to govern the conduct of such proceedings. The procedures include the following. Any communication with commissioners which occurs outside the public hearing must be fully disclosed at the hearing. Applicants and persons attending the hearing may question commissioners regarding their disclosures. Such questions shall be limited solely to the disclosures made at the hearing for the written communications made a part of the record at the hearing. Any person representing a group or organization must provide documentation that the person representing the group has the actual authority to do so regarding the matter before the commission. Any person who wishes to speak at the hearing will be sworn in and may be subject to cross-examination. The applicant and county staff may cross-examine witnesses. Any other persons attending the hearing may submit cross-examination questions, including follow-up questions, to the chair who will conduct the examination. The scope of the cross-examination is limited to the facts alleged by the witnesses in relation to the application. Public comment is encouraged, and all relevant information should be presented to the Commission in order that a fair and appropriate decision can be made. Do we have proof of publication?
Yes, we do.
Motion to accept.
Do we have a second? Second. Motion made by Commissioner Caliendo, seconded by Commissioner Brumfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Swearing in by the county attorney.
All those wishing to testify on today's quasi-judicial items, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
If we've had a chance, do we have an approval of the minutes?
I'll motion to approve the minutes of the past meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Venicore, seconded by Commissioner Caliendo. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Opposed? Motion passes. Amendments to the agenda, Ms. Wendy.
Okay, we do have quite a few amendments to our agenda, starting with item number 4, CA 2023-656 RCRU investments. We have modifications to compliance conditions 1 and 2 for the Class A conditional use in Exhibit C. Item number 8, Lake Haven PUD for Exhibit C, amending the conditions of approval to include the plating from PREM, conditions 1 through 6. On the regular agenda, item number 9, ZCA 2023-01471, CMFC Farm, aka Gulfstream Haas. We're revising conditions in the Class A conditional use for Exhibit C2, the all petition condition 1, environmental condition 2, and compliance condition 1. Revising the Class A conditional use for Exhibit C3, all petition condition 1, and compliance condition 1. Item number 10, ABN DOA CA 2023-01491, Polo Gardens MUPD, revising the development order amendment Exhibit C2 for the all petition number 1, and the architectural review condition number 1. We also have requests to move item, let's see, which was it? Item number 10, ABN DOA CA 2023-01491, Polo Gardens MUPD, to the consent agenda. And that will be
I'm sorry, which item was that for the consent?
item number 10. And no other amendments to the agenda.
Do any of the commissioners have a question or a concern about pulling item 10 over to consent?
No.
Okay. Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second the motion to adopt the agenda.
Motion made by Commissioner Caliendo, seconded by Commissioner Venicore. All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Disclosures. I will start to my left with the new commissioner.
Yes, I had conversations with the applicants on items 8 and 9.
No disclosures.
PC said 11 is exempt.
Yes.
Okay. No disclosures.
No disclosures.
I had discussions with the applicant's representatives on items 5, 7, 8, and 10.
Commissioner Whitaker.
I had discussions on discussions on application number 11, but I believe that one was stricken.
Correct.
Yes.
And I had discussion with applicants on item 8 and 9. Moving on to conflicts or recusals, again, starting to my left with Commissioner Williams.
None.
None. None.
None.
None.
Commissioner Whitaker.
None.
And I have none, and it looks like Scott's going to correct me.
No corrections. Just a clarification, because we have a couple of new commissioners. I wanted to point out that the reason why number 11 does not require disclosures is because it's not a quasi-judicial item. ULDC amendments are not quasi-judicial, so they don't require disclosures, just for future reference as well.
Fantastic. Ms. Wendy, I believe that takes us to postponements.
Yes, that'll bring us to the postponement agenda. We have 2 items on postponement. PDD DOA 2023-848
Bring it to Lori.
Valencia.
Around the back.
Valencia Shores AGR PUD, and item number 2Z 2023-850 1 Mile Property. Neither of these need motions, but they will be administratively postponed to May 2nd for our next zoning commission hearing. And that'll bring us to the consent agenda.
All right. Do any of the commissioners have any questions about anything on consent?
And may I make a motion to adopt?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Caliendo to adopt the consent agenda as amended, and seconded by Commissioner Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. I believe that takes us to regular agenda item number 9, Ms. Wendy.
Yes, item number 9 is ZCA 2023-01470 CMFC Farm, also known as Gulfstream Haas. The request before the board includes an official zoning map amendment, a Class A conditional use for zero lot line, and a Class A conditional use for workforce housing density bonus. We will turn it over to the applicant for a presentation and then turn it over to staff.
Good morning, Commissioner, and good morning, Chair and Commissioners. Matthew Barnes with WGI, Senior Project Manager, here on behalf of the applicant. Also here on behalf of the applicant in the audience is Brian Seymour, partner at Gunster, and Dr. Juan Ortega, President of JFO Inc., the traffic engineer. So the project is located south of Lake Worth Road, east of Lyons Road, and west of the Turnpike, also west of Polo Road. It is located within the West Lake Worth Road neighborhood plan area. That was a neighborhood plan that was adopted in 2009 when this area started undergoing a lot of development. The surrounding uses of the site, predominantly single family. There is a church to our immediate west, and then also to our immediate west, north, and east is the Gulfstream Preserve PUD, which is mostly zero lot line homes, but they do have some apartments in the front. And then the developments around us are a mix of zero lot lines. Some of them have townhomes. Some of them are non-zero lot line, regular single family homes. And then up on Lake Worth Road, you have some MUPDs that have a mix of commercial and multifamily. What we're requesting today is a map amendment to go from the RT Residential Transitional Zoning District to the RS Single Family Residential Zoning District. That's because we're proposing to build 33 zero lot line homes, and zero lot line homes are not a permitted use in the RT zoning district. They are in the RS zoning district. However, in the RS zoning district, they're permitted through a Class A conditional use, so we're also requesting the Class A conditional use for the zero lot line homes and a second Class A conditional use for a density bonus that's greater than 50%. A little bit about the history. You might be wondering, how did this property sort of come to be if you've looked at your staff report and it's surrounded by another PUD and doesn't have frontage on a public road like a typical property would. Well, so in 2006, the Gulfstream Preserve PUD was first put forth by the developer at that time. This property was included. And then it just, things happened in the market around that time, in 2006 and going forward, so it didn't get built at that time. And then in 2013, the developer processed a development order amendment to remove these 10 acres and proceeded with building the Gulfstream Preserve as it exists today without this property. And I'll get into a little bit about the access to it in a minute. As I mentioned, we are in the West Lake Worth Road neighborhood plan area, so I've reached out many times on all those dates there, starting in early November through last month to the head of the West Lake Worth Road Coalition. We've had some email conversations and telephone conversations. No in-person meeting was requested, so we didn't do one. But I shared the plans with them, and they didn't have any comments to us on them. I also reached out to the Gulfstream Preserve HOA starting in late February, culminating in a meeting with the on-site HOA manager and the HOA president on March 26th. This is the next couple slides will run through the changed conditions in this area. It's changed a lot. A story that's not uncommon to western Palm Beach County. In 1995, the area between the Turnpike and Lyons and south of Lake Worth Road really had nothing other than farming and basically that was it, farming. And you could see there was some single family to the west, but it was largely undeveloped. You go forward 15 years, it's still largely undeveloped, but you could see some residential starting to be developed into the Lyons Road, Lake Worth Road, Turnpike area. No coincidence, this is when, I apologize for my voice, I'm battling a little bug that's come on this week, so bear with me. But so this is when the Lake Worth Road plan was adopted, and I'm happy to say we're consistent with that neighborhood plan. And then you jump forward 6 years, it's still mostly undeveloped, but then you can see the Gulfstream Preserve is starting to be developed around this property. And then you jump forward to today, and it's absolutely filled up in terms of the area between Lyons, Lake Worth, and the Turnpike, save for this property and one other property to our south across the canal. One thing you notice that we're not requesting is a land use change. So the land use on this property is LR2. We're consistent with that. It's actually a lower land use than a lot of what's around us. The church does have the LR2 land use to our west, but for example, the Gulfstream Preserve property and the Andalusia PUD to our south are MR5. There's, as I mentioned, there's MUPDs with underlying MR5 designations up along Lake Worth Road. And there's even HR8 over by the Turnpike. The current zoning is it's pretty much all PUDs around us, including some MUPDs up on Lake Worth Road. And we're the RT. We're just proposing to change that again to the RS. We're not proposing to be a PUD, but just do the straight zoning under RS. And then density, like we're actually under density in terms of when you compare it to what's around us. So we're 10 acres, 33 units. That's 3.33 units per acre. For example, the Gulfstream Preserve, which we're directly abutting and having access through, is 3.8 units per acre. The Andalusia to our south, 4.1 units per acre. And then you go a little further, north and east, those properties along the Turnpike and Lake Worth are as high as 4.7 up to 11 up to 13.5 units per acre. So again, we're not changing the land use. We're complying with the workforce housing ordinance of the county as well. So what is it we're proposing? This is the proposed preliminary subdivision plan. You can tell right away from just looking at this graphic that it's compatible and seamless, quite frankly. It's hard to tell what sort of one project is and the other one isn't, and quite frankly, this is something that you heard the history. Like, this was part of the PUD back in 2006. It was taken out in 2013. This would have been part of that property, probably built somewhat similarly to what you see here. Maybe even more houses, because there probably wouldn't have been a lake here. It would have been integrated to the other system, right, that's already in the Gulfstream Preserve. But nonetheless, this is what we're proposing. I'll run through some aspects of it. We do have 8-foot compatibility buffers on where we abut the single-family homes on like our northwest corner and on our eastern side. By code, we don't need those buffers. When single-family abuts single-family, you don't actually need a compatibility buffer. Nonetheless, we, in an abundance of deference, we're saying, realizing that this is coming in sort of after the fact, we did put the 8-foot compatibility buffers, but I'd like to point out too that on the other side of our property line in the Gulfstream Preserve PUD, they have 20-foot incompatibility buffers, because when they were developed and this property was not, they needed an incompatibility buffer. So it'll be an 8-foot buffer in our property next to their 20-foot incompatibility buffer for a total of 28 feet. Then on our west side where we abut the church, that's considered an incompatibility use, so we have a 15-foot wide incompatibility buffer in that section of the boundary. And then on the south, because across the canal is also sort of an undeveloped ag kind of use, we have a 20-foot wide type 3 incompatibility buffer. We're preserving as you can see, we're preserving the wetland that is partially on our property and partially on the Gulfstream Preserve property. When you do that, the South Florida Water Management District, not the county, but the South Florida Water Management District requires you to have a buffer from the wetland, so we have that, which kind of varies in width, but it must average 25 feet in width. And we have our own rec area. By code, the required rec area is just a shade under 0.2 acres, and we're providing 0.22 acres. It would be a passive recreation area with 33 units. It's not envisioned that this would have its own clubhouse or active things like that. It would be a passive park. Then again, it's a 2.26 acre wetland preserve, and then about a 1.35 acre wetland tract to handle the drainage needs of this particular development. I did mention before that there was the incompatibility buffer on the Gulfstream side, the Gulfstream Preserve side of the property line. In that buffer, there is a 6-foot wall. I pointed it out by the red line there. There's also a 6-foot wall on the west side in their buffer there. Just wanted to point out that there is not only a landscape buffer, but a physical barrier as well. Access. You might be wondering, well, how is this, property going to be accessed? And it's going to be accessed through the existing, through the Gulfstream Preserve PUD. When that PUD was approved in 2013, as you can see, there were stub outs built to this property on Willow Sound Drive and Sea Chase Drive there, as it's highlighted at the sort of the northwest corner and the southeast corner. In that 2013 approval, engineering condition number 8 says the property owner shall provide for alternative access to be utilized if access from 45th Street South is no longer available, which it's not. Access is not available to this property through the Lake Worth Drainage District property, which is AKA 45th Street South. And it says it's available for these two parcel control numbers, which that's what this property is. So it was established in that DOA amendment in 2013 that access will be through the Gulfstream Preserve PUD. And then the county engineer, which in a letter in 2021, confirmed, and as the highlighted part says, the engineering department finds these properties meaning the subject property, has legal access per ULDC requirements. And that's because there's the condition of the other PUD, and they complied with that condition and built the stub outs to this property. That's also in your staff report. It's pretty clear that the property has legal access through the Gulfstream Preserve PUD. It wouldn't be a presentation if I didn't have a checklist. We're requesting a zoning map amendment. I won't go through all of these criteria, of course, but I would like to point out some of them. One of them, the third one down, compatibility with surrounding uses. I mean, we're proposing 0 lot line homes next to 0 lot line homes. So that's pretty much the definition of compatible. Again, and we're providing a compatibility buffer next to their buffer, so it's very well buffered. Also, effect on the natural environment. We're not, we're preserving that wetland preserve. Change conditions or circumstances. Obviously, this entire area between Lake Worth, Lyons, and the Turnpike has changed dramatically over the past, 30 years, while this property has not. But its time has, come. Class A conditional use is very similar criteria. Some differences. Again, I won't read them all. Same thing. Compatibility with surrounding uses. Minimizes environmental impact. Change conditions or circumstances. And then there's separate criteria for the density bonus. Again, we are compliant with the workforce housing program of the county, which is one of the criteria. And we're a compatible use, and our density is actually less when you compare it to the density that's existing around us. Your staff report, your professional staff has recommended approval. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Staff report?
Yes,
Good morning.
we're going to have Zubida make the presentation this morning.
Good morning. I'm Zabita Prasad with the Zoning Division, here to present application ZCA 2023-1470 CMFC Farm Subdivision. The subject site is located on the east side of Lyons Road, approximately 0.3 miles south of Lake Worth Road. The future land use is LR2, and the applicant is requesting a rezoning from the existing residential transitional RT zoning district to single-family residential RS zoning district. The overall acreage for this application is 10 acres. The applicant is requesting to rezone from the residential transitional RT to RS residential single-family, and a second request to allow the subdivision for 33 single zero-lot lines homes and to allow workforce housing density bonus greater than 50%. This slide shows the location of the proposed subdivision for zero-lot line homes. The subdivision plan proposes a residential subdivision of 33 zero-lot line homes, and it includes a recreation area of 0.22 acres, a water management tract of 1.35 acres for on-site drainage, a wetland preserve area of 2.26 areas, which is being maintained in its natural state. Pedestrian sidewalks and open spaces adorn the development. Access is through the existing Gulfstream PUD in the west at Willow Sound Drive, and on the east in Sea Chase Drive. The applicant is also requesting a workforce housing density greater than 50% or an additional 33 dwelling units, of which 4 units are required to be on-site for sale workforce housing units. At the time of publication, staff had received 1 email contact from the public regarding the access granted through the adjacent Gulfstream PUD at the east and west. Staff recommends approval of this request subject to the conditions of approval in Exhibit C. This concludes my presentation. Staff is here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a little bit of clarification to put out there, too, for the project history. And so, as the applicant had stated, originally these 2 parcels were part of the overall Gulfstream Plan Unit Development, Gulfstream Haas, back in 2005. However, in 2007, there was a status report in which the applicant didn't fulfill the conditions of approval. So at that time in 2007, that entire development, which included these 2 parcels, was rezoned back to RT. In 2012, Gulfstream PUD came back in 2012. It did not include these 2 parcels, and it did not include the parcel directly to the west. There were 3 parcels in 2012 that were not rezoned to plan unit development in 2012. Then in 2013, the direct parcel to the west, the third one, was added into Gulfstream PUD through the development order amendment. These 2 parcels were never part of those applications in 2012 or 2013, so I want to at least put that on the record. There was no deletion of land area in any of the applications. And then I also want to put out that this is not part of that plan unit development, so perimeter buffers are required. So to say that it's not required because it's single family is incorrect. They are providing the buffer, however. So.
Thank you for the clarification, Wendy. I'll open it up to commissioners. Are there any questions to the applicant or staff?
I have a question. I didn't understand the comment on there's workforce housing that are 2 of them for sale on site.
With regards to workforce housing, we have a very complicated and detailed workforce housing program. Some of it is for density bonus, and some of it is for what is commonly called inclusionary zoning. You're asking, perhaps the applicant can discuss the specific density bonus or obligation he's providing as part of this packet, and if he's doing in lieu or on site, perhaps he could provide that level of detail.
Sure, I'd be happy to. The workforce housing requirement ends up being 4 units, and they are going to be for sale on site.
So out of the 10, only 4 of them were actually available.
There was only four required, 4 workforce housing units required, and they're all going to be provided on site.
What are the costs of those units?
It's defined by the county. I don't have that information handy, but it changes every year. It's updated based on the CPI, I think, right?
Yeah, Brian Joseph Planning. The housing is targeted to hit 4 different income range categories. They're roughly 60 to 80%, 80 to 100, 100, 120, and 120 to 140. Those are the 4 income range categories. They have to be dispersed, but there's some, without going into all the complicated range, that's the gist of the program. Those are the affordability ranges we typically look for, right. But that's of the average median income that gets reset annually, and that's who they need to be sold to.
Okay.
And on page 4 of the staff report, it talks about those sales prices that are for sale for low, moderate 1, moderate 2, and middle. It ranges from $206,430 to $383,370.
Okay.
And that's the 2023 prices. So when these come on market, the prices may be a bit higher. So.
Right. Yeah. It's just that, housing prices, we're trying to help real workforce, people be able to afford. And being that it's attached housing, basically, there'll be a great answer to be able to split that. So, okay.
Any other questions, Commissioners, for the applicant or staff? Okay, we did receive 2 cards for item number 9, one wishing to speak and one wishing not to speak but is in opposition of. So,
Marty Berger, can you come up to one of the lecterns?
No, you don't have to. Marty, please state your name and address for the record, and you have 3 minutes. The timer's right up here behind me if you can.
Monty Berger, 8820 Sea Chase Drive, Lake Worth, Florida, 33467.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Monty Berger. I'm the president of the Gulfstream Preserve Homeowners Association, and I'm here as a representative for the association. The project that you're considering now are parcels that are surrounded on 3 sides by Gulfstream Preserve and is currently in use as a horse farm for boarding and a single-family home. There was an engineering condition in place by the county when Lennar was developing the community. The proposed project that is being presented today would require rezoning of the land, and then 33 homes would be built on those parcels. The application is being brought to you without any legitimate discussions or negotiations between the horse farm owner and Gulfstream Preserve. The owner of the horse farm simply started a lawsuit against Gulfstream Preserve. There are legitimate concerns for Gulfstream Preserve that need to be settled before we would consider supporting this project. 1, construction access. How would vehicles get to the job site? Our roads are finished, and there are security gates to enter the property. There are tight corners at intersections, and there is only one way in and one way out of the community, and everyone will be negatively affected during the months and years of construction. There is a potential for access on a road that belongs to the Water District. That is 45th Street South, the one that was closed. Drainage. How will drainage work from the new development? There is a concern with potential additional areas draining into Gulfstream Preserve's lakes and roads. In 2023, Gulfstream Preserve had flood issues when heavy rain occurred in the fall. The lakes overflowed and the streets flooded out and were impassable for several days. 3, security. Will the new community be gated from Gulfstream Preserve? How will the homes be marketed? Who is giving realtors and potential buyers access when that means they will have access to Gulfstream as well? 4, traffic. The intersection at Gulf Runway, our entry-exit road, where our gates are, and Willow Runway is very close to our entry and exit gates. Gulf Run does not have stop signs, and the new traffic generated by the new houses is a safety hazard. There are currently 14 homes in that area. Well, now we'll be looking triple that amount with the new construction. In addition, when the gates are open, guests and residents speed through before the gates close. The safety issues at this intersection need to be addressed. In closing, we have an applicant for this project which is not acting in good faith and does not care about what havoc may be brought upon Gulfstream Preserve. We ask the committee to delay approval on this matter until discussions on our concerns are addressed. Thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you, sir. Any rebuttals by the applicant?
Want to guess why the lawyer's getting up? For the record, Brian Seymour Gunster on behalf of the applicant. This is not a question of litigation. The litigation is existing. That's not your problem. That's not your issue. It was not started in that sense. There is an injunction against them. That is a fact. But as Matthew said, there had been outreach. Mr. Berger said that he individually would meet with Mr. Barnes. They did so. They have these objections. It's all been evaluated right from the start of when the Gulfstream Preserve was approved in the first place because that condition was put in place. We have already started to reach out to Lake Worth Drainage District about construction access. Now, you can't do 100% construction access from the south because you then get boxed in. But we are trying to work through that if we can. I don't know whether we can. We don't have an absolute right. But we will continue to try to do that. So that could happen. We remain willing to have conversations, reasonable conversations. There have been settlement discussions in the lawsuits. Whatever else they've formed that the POA would like it to take, reasonable conversations with them if they would like. But the bottom line of it all is this was contemplated when the Gulfstream PUD was approved. It is, in fact, in the POA documents itself that this access would be provided, and it does meet all of the code requirements. We have our traffic engineer here. If you actually want to talk about the number of trips, I think it's 18 peak hour trips that would make that movement, which even if that's a 2-hour spread, the peak hours. Even if you took it to a 1-hour spread, that's less than 1 per minute. So it's not a huge traffic impact that comes. We understand when you put 33 homes, people think you're just going to have everybody coming all in one day, all at one, and there's a fear factor to that. We understand that, but that's not how it actually works. And Dr. Ortega did review that. Your staff reviewed that, and that does work as well. Drainage, fairly simply, it meets all of the requirements. We have to deal with that. I'm not an engineer. I'm sure Mr. Cantor, who is an engineer, if he wanted to get into the details of the drainage and land development stuff, he could do that as well. But that's the short answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seymour. Any follow-up comments from staff?
No.
Questions from commissioners? Mr. Kelly.
I have a question for Mr. Berger. Could you approach the podium, please? Good morning again, sir. We have the staff report and availability of the traffic engineer study and the applicants. Did your group conduct any traffic studies that would substantiate any of your claims today?
No, sir. The only claim is that the gate is relatively very close to the streets that are going to be exiting from those homes. We submitted some pictures, but they said they couldn't get them in. We submitted them too late.
We have the pictures.
So
my question was, no traffic study was
No,
done
sir.
for you
No.
in regards to any of the claims that you made?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions from commissioners? Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve application. The
Well, we-
applicant, oh, sorry,
You've got 3 different ones.
yeah. Here. Appro- Oh, sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah, I should take it off that. Okay, and I should read them all here.
Yes,
An
one at a
official, yes, the title, staff recommendations, and I am submitting a,
I'm sorry if I may,
Sorry.
through the chair.
Yeah.
All we need for a staff you could take 3 individual motions, or you could take one, and it could. Well, no, actually, the first one doesn't count. So you could
just
read the motion.
Yeah.
Recommendation for 9A, 9B, and 9C all together or separately?
Yeah, and you don't have to read the title in the request.
Okay, so the motion is to recommend approval of item 9A and to recommend approval of item 9B and item 9C. And that's all that needs to be said?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
So we have a motion to recommend items 9A, B, and C from Commissioner Vinacore, seconded by Commissioner Caliendo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Before we move on to item 11, my apologies. During the time where we were considering the consent agenda, we did have a card that was handed in late. So out of a courtesy, I just want to ask real quick for item number 10, is Pasmac Wilson still in the chamber? No? Okay. Commissioners, we did receive a card in opposition that wished to speak for item number 10. If you would like, I will entertain a motion to reconsider at this time. No motion? Okay, so item number 10 stays where it's at. Moving on to item number 11, Ms. Wendy.
Okay, I'll take this one.
Ms. Lisa.
This morning, as some of you may know, this board, the Zoning Commission, is now acting as the Land Development Review Commission. And you have different roles on proposed amendments to the ULDC. This is our first ULDC amendment that is presented to you. And something about this one that's a little unique is that it is a privately proposed request to change the Unified Land Development Code. So how this process works is that if a private applicant wants to request a change to the code, there's a two-phase process. Staff doesn't work on private requests to the plan or code without endorsement from the Board of County Commissioners first, because it's very time-consuming. And so this is just phase one for the proposed amendment. The action today for the Zoning Commission is in the advisory capacity only, and you will recommend either initiation that the board you would recommend to the Board of County Commissioners that the item be initiated, which means that the applicant can provide an additional fee, and we can continue the discussion and dialogue on the application. And the staff report is very short. There is a lot of analysis and work that needs to be done. We do not do that before initiation. We do that in phase two before the actual item is presented to you for a consistency with the comp plan and greater and just greater analysis. There's just not enough time in the day to barely get the packets before you, let alone spending a lot of time with an applicant on prior to endorsement of the concept by the Board of County Commissioners. And I just wanted to make that clear. So you will see this again if it's initiated by the Board of County Commissioners. You will see it again for action at another hearing during the summer. Okay, thank you. And I'll turn it over to the agent to make a presentation.
Good morning, Acting Chair and Acting Vice Chair and Commissioners. For the record, my name is George Gentile. I'm President of 2GHO Inc. and representing the applicant for the proposed private initiated text amendment. We're calling this the Coastal Resiliency Waiver. This is a Type 2 waiver. This is in response to the Florida Condominium Safety Regulation that was put in Senate Bill 4D, and it was adopted in May of 22 and reevaluated in the legislature's process in 23, which at that time there was no modifications that were relative to issues of the property owners in regards to the costs and inspections that have to be done. And this is all in relation to the collapse of the Sunrise condominium area. So as Lisa indicated, this is really just a request for you to allow us to initiate a process, the Phase 2 process, to allow us to go to a ULDC modification and review it, and it will come back to you. And this is to accommodate changes to the coastal development regulations in order to allow redevelopment of the coastal properties just on the ocean front. This is happening quite a bit in municipalities where they have coastal condominium buildings, and I'll go over a few of the items in a second here. But many of the coastal buildings, particularly in the area in the north end of the county, which is where most of them are on the island, barrier island, are 40 to 50 years old. Actually, our client has a building that's a little bit in excess of 40 years old, and so you can imagine that the current development regulations are they really don't meet a lot of them. And what's happened in that is that there's been changes to regulations. The coastal construction control line was moved 27 years ago, which is after these buildings were built. And I'm going to show you that in a minute and how that affects it. This is just one of the areas that have been modified to change the development process if there needs to be redevelopment or reworking of those projects. I indicated the Surfside condominium collapse initiated the reviews. Those reviews are now a inspection every 10 years for buildings that are 25 years or older. The first due inspections are now being done because they are due to be finalized by 2025. So a lot of the buildings are getting them done right now. Those inspections are for structural integrity, adequately funded reserves, so that will be a financial burden on the residents. They will get assessed for additional reserves for any issues that may come by, and there's also a requirement for them to be transparent. Those reports have to go to all the condominium owners. Other regulations, the FEMA-based flood elevation maps have been modified. I know that Palm Beach County had some objections to some of them because of their impact on the residents in Palm Beach County on their insurance, their home insurance, which is a big issue here in Florida. And of course, the Southern Standard Building Code was just modified at the beginning of the year, and there's a lot of items in there now that deal with resiliency and also the inspections and other elements, including a LOMAR letter when you change grades on properties that are over a certain area. So all of these are impacts to the coastal properties in the area. The background, the Type 2 waiver, it's going to really be an option which is not available to the residents right now. It's going to allow them an option if the financial burden and the redevelopment based on the inspections cannot be accomplished feasibly. A lot of these condominium buildings 40 years ago, when I say the price that these people paid for these, you'll kind of gasp because they were in the $200,000 to $300,000 range. And now these inspections are requiring them to be assessed in the millions. So it is a burden on those people. And this waiver in Palm Beach County will really give those residents a true option to work on redevelopment, tearing down, redeveloping those properties, meeting the codes, and meeting resilient construction requirements. So this is why we're here. This is just a sample. This is the area in the north end of the county, and you can see that the yellow line is the 1979 coastal construction control line. It's approximate location because we don't have it surveyed on this property. And you can see those condominiums, most of the buildings were westward of it, which is a proper development at that time. However, in 1997, that line was moved westward. And so all of these properties in that area, and most of these are in the county. There's a few towards the south that start getting into the village of DeQuesta. However, that line's been moved, and so now they are in the high hazard areas of the state reviews, and they'll have to deal with all of those elements, particularly if they have repairs or redevelopment that need to take place. This waiver is not a forced waiver. It will be an option for any of those other condominiums that meet these criteria that have to do this to deal with it. We represent the Beach Sound condominium properties. This is actually one of the smallest lots in that area. And you can see the impacts of that building. You see the white area and the change in the lines. So as they look at redevelopment of that building, which is over 40 years old, they're going to have to deal with a lot of those issues. The building to the south has just had an inspection done. There are actually residents that are not living in there right now because they've had substantial structural issues that they're dealing with right now. So. These are the proposed changes. I'm not going to go over them. You have them in your packages. As Lisa indicated earlier, you're going to see these back with a complete analysis and actually be able to weigh in on these as we come back to you all. So the commission action is to review phase 1, which we're in right now, is just the initiation phase, and hopefully forward a recommendation to the Board of County Commissioners to initiate phase 2, which is the actual review of the text amendment for the ULDC for the type 2 waiver. I'll end it there, and I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Staff?
Yes, we're going to have Jerome Oddie make a presentation this morning.
Well, Lisa said a lot of my presentation.
Sorry for stealing your thunder. You just repeat it.
Yeah, that was really the presentation. The summary, the privately proposed revision would revise ULDC to establish a type 2 waiver process to allow reductions in minimum property development regulations. And these reductions in minimum property development regulations will allow the redevelopment of these coastal lots, taking into consideration the coastal construction control line. And when Lisa again already, went through the privately proposed process. So staff recommendation is to initiate. Skip to the next. Yeah. So staff recommendation is to initiate the ULDC revisions as indicated in the staff report. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerome. Questions or comments by commissioners?
I have one.
Commissioner Caliendo?
Okay, I have a couple of questions. One, has the applicant bothered? I know most of it was related to your clients buying or purchasing of the unit, which I believe is a low rise from my inspection of your report. Have they gone to the other buildings, even the surrounding areas, to see what their feelings are?
They have been. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
They've been participating in the Beach Road Association meetings. They have gone to both the condominium buildings in that area. We originally initiated or started a request for a overlay, which really was going to be a mandatory issue. This makes it an optional issue, but we're certainly going to be engaging with them continuously, but we have already, over the last numerous months, we have been talking with them.
But under what you were proposing, you followed the guidelines of the codes that are in existence, correct?
It'll be the development regulations that the county has, and we will come forward if this ULDC amendment is made, then we will have an application for site plan approval that will ask for waivers to certain land development regulations.
But my point where I was going was that you right now in existence is a low-rise unit. I believe it's 3 or 4 stories, the building that's there.
It's 4 stories.
4 stories.
Yes.
And so would you come back with a high-rise?
I can't answer that question right now. We don't know, but we will be within the density that the property
Which would
has.
be a high-rise.
No,
which
not
could be.
no.
Which could be.
It could be higher because we have to raise the elevation of the floors on those buildings.
The reason I bring that up is that if the other surrounding buildings are, and I've dealt with this in a project we have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go ahead. That you wind up raising a unit so high and they can't retain their own water, and they got these other low rises on either side, they can get swamped in and undermined by, and yes, they can make you put drainage on your property, but when a high rise gets that high, one, you're dwarfing the other buildings that are there.
First, it won't be any higher than any of the buildings in that area.
Which
I
are
can
mostly
tell you
4
that.
stories.
What's that?
Mostly 4 stories.
There's projects that are bigger. If this this continues to go through, although we don't know if there will be any other ones, there's already been 3 teardowns, or 2 teardowns, and a third one on its way in that coastal area there to redevelopment. And those elevations, the drainage has to be met. We can't do it without, we can't impact the properties next to us. And so we will have to work that out with the project itself.
Under this proposal, though, would you have to have 100% of the condominium owners' approval to buy them out or take them out?
Thank you, Mr. Caliendo. Again, for the record, Brian Seymour. I also represent this applicant. That's really a legal question.
Yeah.
This proposal has nothing to do with the approval of the condominium owners. That's a function of their condominium documents in Florida law about how you have to get the ownership if there's a tear down. Okay. So this is really just a function of they're all about to be hit, and there was an attempt to extend the deadline, by the way, in the last legislative session past the end of this year. I think it's this year. It failed. So by the end of this year, all of these owners are potentially going to be hit with a huge assessment. It's a function of giving them an option out. Whatever their documents, their condo documents in Florida law would require, if they want to follow that, they can, to see if this would work for them. But there's no requirement that they do, which was one
so
of the
it'll be based on the condo docs. So
correct.
They not necessarily have to have 100%, because you'd have one guy hold out and all the rest of the owners get stuck.
So I don't think that I'm not a condo expert, but I believe that Florida law wouldn't allow for that anyway. You can't get one holdout. I think there's a percentage piece.
Oh, okay.
And it's based on a couple of other factors. But that's something that a developer and the condo owners and the unit owners would have to come together in the board and work through.
I got you. Thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner Vinokur, you had a question?
Yeah. Let's see. Is this study, if it is initiated, are you going to take into account all along is the staff, the applicant, going to see how this impacts the rest of the coastline? I know there's a lot of municipalities, we're dealing with this being unincorporated Palm Beach County, but other municipalities, will this waiver, could this impact what the other, all the way down the line?
This is only for unincorporated county.
Yes.
This has no applicability in any municipality.
Yes.
The other condos along the corridor are as high as 8 feet, 8 stories rather. And there is no obligation that any of those property owners participate in asking for a waiver later. This request is to establish a waiver process. We've been hearing a lot from the Board of County Commissioners that we should look at flex regulations in the ULDC that allow a more flexible opportunity for infill redevelopment in the county. A waiver process is one of those mechanisms that jurisdictions do in order to address confining regulations in a land development regulations. And in this particular area, when these condos were built, there wasn't the current regulations that we have on the setback for height. In the county now, the bigger your height is, the bigger your setback is. And that wasn't in place at the time a lot of these structures were built. So there are challenges with the coastal construction line and also changes in more restrictive nature to the ULDC that have come into play. And that is, what this is going to propose is that an applicant along the corridor, there's about 200 condominium units along this corridor. There's only 12 in the subject site. But if this moves forward, there is absolutely nothing that obligates any one of the other condos from asking for a waiver or redeveloping. That's all up to their own individual decisions with their HOAs and however they do that. Even the subject site, the decision making on how they move forward with asking for a waiver is all up to them. This is just setting in motion a tool in the toolkit that allows them to ask for a waiver. This is not a waiver for the subject site.
Right.
So I hope that clarifies.
Yeah, and you're talking about you think that there's only 7 parcels. Are you going to be looking into that when you do this initiation?
There's this,
how
in
many?
unincorporated county, there's this corridor here, and there's a handful of small parcels along the Surf Road area near Briny Breezes.
Right.
However, none of those are the same circumstance because none of those properties include condominiums that are more than 1 stories. There's a couple of new developments down there. So that's the only 2 places that we've found in unincorporated county fronting the Atlantic Ocean that might be applicable. More information on the Surf Road area would come out in phase 2.
Okay, and the Florida Office of Resilience and Coastal Protection, you're going to be looking into how, if would these waivers possibly affect that, go against the regulations that are there for the CCCL?
With the coastal resiliency, the building department, environmental resources management, this proposed amendment to the ULDC will be requesting the board approve a waiver process from setbacks and ULDC regulations articles 1 through 8. 1 through 8 are the jurisdiction of the zoning division. We are not proposing in this packet that there are waivers to any other part of the ULDC that might be subject to the state, that might be subject to the building division, that might be the subject of in Article 4. This is narrowly focused on the setbacks and other site development constraints that are in Articles 1 through 8. If it's initiated, we will sit down with the Office of Resiliency and and the building division to broaden the conversation to any possible area where allowing a reduced setback at the zoning stage will create an inconsistency with whatever that they have. However, as I said initially, this is the initiation phase, and there's only a finite amount of time that we have to work on this to get this before the board. So if it's initiated in phase 2, we will work at the level of detail necessary to revise the land development regulations affecting unincorporated Palm Beach County.
Okay, and I'm glad to hear, I know the Office of Resilience has been told about this and they know about this. And I hope that you work really closely with them because I see resilience throughout this entire amendment, and we should utilize our great resources that we have in the OOR and Thank you.
Commissioner Kelly, you had a question?
Yes, sir. It's good to see you, sir. I've reviewed the packet. I'm familiar with the statute, and I just had I have a curious question. I'm up on this. I want this to go. Is this the first one in Florida under the statute that we're looking at? And I realize this is Palm Beach County, but it's a statewide statute, and you might be able to tell me, providing access to these homeowners that are going to be negatively impacted through these inspection processes and potentially save lives in removing unsafe structures.
So the statute, I think you mean the statute requiring the engineering inspections, the assessments. I'm going to assume that was me, not you. Yeah, it was me.
Yeah, it's that podium.
It's definitely me. I have a high-pitched voice. I'm not sure what happened. So throughout the state, there have been a number of engineering reports. A lot of them happen down in Miami. You have seen some issues with that. I don't have all the data, but there were some articles that have been posted about that, obviously. And I think that's partly why there was an attempt to get the legislature to move the deadline. But the process that we're going through here to try to incentivize or give opportunity, incentivize might not even be the right word, but giving another opportunity for people, I don't know that that's happened elsewhere. Palm Beach County is looking at trying to make sure we're ahead of the game. Certainly, we're working with that. We had long conversations with Lisa, Wendy, and the staff to try to say how can we give opportunities to folks so they're not boxed in. But yeah, it has happened, and there have been some issues where people have been looking at some serious assessments to try to accommodate some of the, we're really talking mostly the 70s and 80s buildings, but not entirely, but mostly those.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm up.
Thank you. Commissioner Whitaker, did you have a question?
Not really a question, but I think it's a brilliant plan to start with, and I really want to make a motion to approve this.
Second.
I'm sorry, who?
Second.
Motion made by Commissioner Whitaker to approve staff recommendation for item 11, seconded by Commissioner Brumfield. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Commissioners, thank you, and I also want to thank staff for all the, I know it's time-consuming, and they're kind of late, but they've done a tremendous job on keeping us focused. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I like the idea of the multi-phase, so it comes in front of us sooner and BCC sooner. Great job. This is well thought out. So kudos to you and getting it organized. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, well, just one thing, those reports that are required on these buildings are 40 years old and so on are way more than just structural. We just had a building go through it, and you got mechanicals and other things that are there, and some of these costs are so prohibitive that they've got to have an escape clause to get these people out of these buildings.
All right, so that concludes our regular agenda. We move on to the comments section. Scott, you have any comments on the county attorney?
No comments.
Okay. Planning director? No comments. Zoning?
Good morning. I would thank and welcome the new commissioners. Welcome aboard. We are going to have an agenda item at the Board of County Commissioners on Tuesday to appoint another one of the at-large positions. And I'd also like to announce that for those of you who have been around a while, well, maybe I'll steal Whitney's thunder on that one. So I won't mention anything about the planning director. But thank you all for joining us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
Thank you, Ms. Lisa. Ms. Whitney, any comments?
Actually, I wanted to also say welcome aboard to our two new commissioners, and we'll look forward to our third joining us. Actually, I could announce our new planning director. She will be coming on board starting April 15th. Her name is Twee Shutt, and some of you may be familiar with Twee. She's reuniting her family here at PZB, so we're excited to have her and joining our wonderful team, which did a great job today. Thank you, guys.
Fantastic. Commissioners, any comments? Mr. Kelly.
Just thank you guys so much for item 11. That's super important, and I appreciate the timelines and the work put in to get it before us. Thank you very much.
No other comments. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Commissioner
Second.
Caliendo, seconded by Commissioner Vinicourt to adjourn at 10:07. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Different day. Yep.
Talk to you later.
See you later, Sam. Thanks.
Thanks, Liz.